everyone in this room that government will continue to work with the private sector players to make sure they grow this economy inclusively. And of course, the role of women in this, it remains also very, very important. And I have right here to discuss that. She's Ngova Ihyembe-Nwankwo. She's an executive director at NIBSS and also a NIBSS trustees. I tried not to murder her name. Thank you so much, and it's really good to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and thanks for not murdering my name. You did a great job.
Thank you very much. NESG 31, 31 years of this. First, I want to start with the role of women in, economic building and, and all the discourse in here. What do you make of it? I see real participation of women at this gathering.
I know, it's quite exciting. I've been coming to NESG for a few years, but this is, I think, one of the ones that you can actively see and feel female participation. And when you talk about the role of women, it really cannot be overemphasized. Women make up slightly more than half of the population, and if you use the analogy of a plane, you cannot have an aircraft flying with only one engine or half of its engines working. For us to really be able to take off and sustain the flight, you need to have the aircraft flying with all its engines, and that's what we talk about when we say inclusivity and bringing women on board. We need to have women actively participating because they bring in really specific flavor. So one of the things that we see and is widely documented is the fact that when you have a more diverse board, because we're talking about women on boards now, you get a lot more innovation because they're bringing diverse perspectives. You also bring in, when we look at sort of ESG, the S part of it, a real focus on ensuring that you have engagement, a focus on sustainability, a focus on long-term profits, and less risk-taking. And then the sort of the third thing that we find that is also sort of widely documented about governance. When you bring women on board, you have that extra layer of additional governance. And I think when you put those three things together, you can clearly see that where women are actively part of boards or part of corporations or part of government, there is no way but up.
I think I would agree with you. My GCEO is also a woman, and I can see what's been happening to my company. But let's move away from that. Challenges come, and women will say funding. Sometimes we're not given the same leveled playing ground with men and all of that. Have you been able to battle with that? You're an executive director. You're also a trustee member of NIBSS. I'm sure you've heard lots of stories. How's it been?
So there have been challenges, and there continue to be challenges. Some of the things that come to mind for me are we're not as intentional with including women. So we talk about inclusivity, but it's important to note, and I always say that it's not a war, it's not a gender war. Both men and women bring real interesting parts to the whole. And so what's then critical is, for women, it's understanding what are the things that limit them from either being able to enter the workforce or to stay in the workforce, and then being intentional about creating solutions that allow them to thrive, right? In addition to that, there's also the fact that often women are brought in as a token, as opposed to bringing them in to really provide the fullness of themselves. And so it's not about just ticking a box, it's about bringing women in and including them in all aspects of the business. So that, like I said earlier, you get that full complement of both sides. So, I mean, with that said, do I think that we're seeing some positive changes? We are. At NIBSS has, over the years, we've done a number of things to make women part of the workforce, to identify the areas that they need support in, identify areas that companies can do better to keep women in their jobs. And we're seeing real engagement from the private sector, from the public sector, and today we have our own NIBSS panel at NESG. So that tells you how much work NIBSS has done over the years.
You really have to run up to meet up with that session. And I must thank you so much for spending your time. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right then. So you